Some motorcycles are so problematic, even experienced riders regret buying them. Here are 7 bikes that seemed like a good idea, but left owners wishing they'd chosen differently. At number 7, we have the Harley-Davidson Street 750, a bike that promised so much, yet left many riders with deep regret. Launched as an affordable Harley for urban streets, the Street 750 came with a 749 cubic centimeters liquid-cooled Revolution X V-twin engine. It looked sleek, it sounded decent, and with a low 28-inch seat height, it seemed perfect for new Harley fans. And the price? Back in the day, it started around $7,599, making it one of the cheapest Harleys ever built. But here's where the regrets begin. Riders quickly discovered the Street 750 wasn't built for real Harley life. The power delivery felt dull, with just 53 horsepower struggling to excite on highways. The brakes? Soft and spongy, even with optional ABS, they didn't inspire confidence. And that heat? Riders in warmer countries say the engine roasted their legs in traffic. On top of all that, after Harley discontinued the model in 2021, parts and accessories became harder to find, leaving many owners stuck with a bike they couldn't upgrade or fix easily. So while the Street 750 looked like an easy ticket into the Harley lifestyle, for many riders, it turned into a purchase they deeply regretted. At number 6, it's the Royal Enfield Himalayan first generation. When it launched, adventure riders were hyped. A rugged, go-anywhere bike at an affordable price. What could possibly go wrong? The Himalayan came with a 411 cubic centimeters single-cylinder engine, designed for off-road trails and long-distance touring. And with a price tag of around $4,750 back in 2016, it seemed like a steal for an entry-level ADV bike. But for many early owners, this dream quickly turned into disappointment. The first-gen Himalayan was plagued with issues: engine reliability problems, premature wear on critical parts, weak welds on the frame, and oil leaks that frustrated riders. Even the electrical system was notorious for cutting out in the middle of rides. And while the low-end torque was great for trails, the bike struggled to maintain highway speeds comfortably. Vibrations at higher RPMs made longer journeys tiring. So even though the price was tempting, the first-gen Royal Enfield Himalayan ended up being a bike that many riders deeply regret buying. At number 5, we have the Ducati 999, produced from 2003 to 2006. On release, it was Ducati's bold new flagship superbike, designed to replace the legendary 916 series. The specs were impressive for the era. A 998 cubic centimeters L-twin engine producing 124 horsepower, lightweight trellis frame, and cutting-edge aerodynamics. With a starting price of around $17,995 back in 2003, it was an exotic machine meant for purists and collectors alike. But here's where the story takes a twist. Many riders, and even hardcore Ducati fans, felt the 999 lacked the soul of its predecessors. The styling, designed by Pierre Terblanche, was polarizing. Gone were the graceful, flowing lines of the 916 and 996, replaced instead by sharp, angular features that divided the community. Performance was potent, but reliability became an issue. Early models suffered from fragile electronics, finicky valve adjustments, and expensive servicing costs. A simple Desmo valve service could set you back thousands. So despite its iconic Ducati badge and impressive engineering, the 999 became one of those bikes that some riders, and even collectors, wish they hadn't bought. At number 4, it's the Suzuki GSX650F, a bike that promised versatility but ended up disappointing many owners. Launched as a budget-friendly sport touring machine, the GSX650F featured a 656 cubic centimeters inline-4 engine producing around 85 horsepower. It was designed for riders who wanted the looks of a supersport without the aggressive ergonomics. And with a starting price of $7,599 back in the late 2000s, it seemed like a smart choice for everyday use. But here's where things went wrong. At nearly 530 pounds dry, the GSX650F was heavy, too heavy for spirited riding in the twisties. Riders found it sluggish and uninspiring, especially compared to lighter rivals like the Yamaha FZ6 or Kawasaki Ninja 650. The styling didn't help either. With full fairings but muted lines, it looked confused, somewhere between a sport bike and a commuter. And while reliability was typical Suzuki bulletproof, the bike failed to excite both beginners and seasoned riders. So while the GSX650F seemed like a bargain, for many riders it turned into a bike they quickly outgrew and deeply regretted buying. At number 3, it's the BMW R1200 bike that turned heads in the late 90s and early 2000s, but left many owners scratching theirs later on. Designed as BMW's bold entry into the cruiser market, the R1200 featured a 1,170 cubic centimeters air-cooled boxer twin engine producing 61 horsepower. It had unique styling, with swept-back handlebars and a distinctive chrome frame. And with a starting price of $15,500 in 2004, it wasn't exactly cheap either. But here's the problem. The performance never quite matched its looks. At nearly 580 pounds, the bike felt underpowered, especially for riders expecting the torque and grunt of a true cruiser. The quirky ergonomics also split opinions. Some loved the upright posture, while others found it awkward and fatiguing on longer rides. Maintenance costs were another sore spot. Parts and servicing for the boxer engine weren't cheap, and customizations were limited compared to American cruisers like Harley-Davidson or Victory. So despite its iconic James Bond appearance in Tomorrow Never Dies, the BMW R1200 became a bike that many riders deeply regret adding to their garage. At number 2, it's the Buell Blast, a bike that aimed to bring new riders into the world of motorcycling but ended up doing the opposite for many. The Blast featured a 492 cubic centimeters single-cylinder engine producing around 34 horsepower, with a low 27.5-inch seat height designed to be approachable for beginners. And at a price of just $4,395 when it launched in 2000, it was one of the most affordable ways to get a made-in-America motorcycle. But here's where things went downhill. The engine's vibrations were excessive, even for a single cylinder, making rides uncomfortable, especially on longer trips. Build quality wasn't great either. Plastics were prone to cracking, and the carburetor often needed fiddling just to keep the bike running smoothly. And let's not forget the reputation. Many experienced riders dismissed the Blast as cheap and uninspiring, which didn't help its image. Even Eric Buell himself famously crushed several Blasts with a giant crusher when Harley discontinued the brand in 2009, sending a pretty clear message about how he felt. So while it was affordable and beginner-friendly on paper, for many riders, the Buell Blast became a bike they deeply regretted buying. And finally, at number 1, we have the Kawasaki Eliminator 125, a bike that left many riders wishing they had chosen something else. Marketed as a lightweight cruiser, the Eliminator 125 came with a 125 cubic centimeters single-cylinder engine producing a modest 12 horsepower. With a seat height of just 26.8 inches and a weight of only 291 pounds, it was designed to be beginner-friendly and approachable. Back in the early 2000s, it sold for around $2,999, making it one of the cheapest cruisers on the market. But here's the catch. While its low weight and simplicity were great for learners, the bike severely lacked power. Riders quickly discovered that the Eliminator struggled to keep up with traffic, even on city roads. Highway riding? Forget it. On top of that, its tiny engine meant riders outgrew it within months. Many owners ended up trading it in for bigger bikes, realizing they'd wasted money on something they'd barely ride. So while the Kawasaki Eliminator 125 was affordable, its lack of performance and limited practicality earned it the top spot on this list of motorcycles riders deeply regret buying.